Welcome back, everybody, to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast, a member of the Hockey Podcast Network and the official podcast of Left Wing Lock, your number one source for fantasy hockey intelligence. I'm your host, Evan Davidson. With me, as always, Bruce Gunther and John Enns. Tyler Holman has decided to make another appearance on the list this week, and he will not be joining us. I don't even know what he's got going on, guys, but he's not going to be here.
Yeah, what a hoser.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll listen to this later. So, Tyler, we do miss you, but we'll talk to you next week, I guess.
Oh, he posted his supper to Instagram, and it looked really good. So
it always does. It always does. Excuse me, for our listeners, if anybody is interested in Tyler's culinary choices, you can go check him out at TaiChi_67, or I think he has another one. It's at Bone App the Teeth. Yeah, so that one, it's if you want to check it out, it's on Instagram. It's actually pretty good. He's he's a talented guy. Hey, Bruce, when it comes to food.
Oh yeah, it looks incredible.
And I've eaten some of it myself, and it's pretty damn good. So
it tastes the part too.
It looks the part, it tastes the part. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, guys, here we are, episode 46. Bruce, episode 46 already.
I know. It's almost as old as I am.
We're just rolling through these. Yeah, I guess first things first, happy birthday to Bruce, the big 5-0 today.
Yeah.
I was going to steal that photo of that cake and post it to our Twitter account, but I thought I should ask you first. So,
yeah, go for it.
Pretty impressive, actually. So, yeah, maybe I'll tweet that out later. Or if you want to, feel free.
You want the picture of the 50 buzzards in my front yard, too?
I did see that one, too. That was pretty funny. Well, yeah, we can. We'll start that out later. But yeah, if you want to send it up to Twitter, or I can, doesn't matter. But we should get it out there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so episode 46, NHL Week 17. This is part 2 of Week 17. We have our picks and preview. I don't know about you guys. I'm excited to get back to hockey here. It feels like it's been forever. It's only been a few days, but no hockey since Wednesday now. So yeah, it's been a while. What do you say we just kick it off right away? John's list. John, I guess you've got something sort of relevant to talk about here, so let's get at it.
Well, you were just talking about how we haven't had any hockey since, Wednesday, so I agree, because this week's list member is actually the All-Star Weekend.
You just made the list!
I don't know. As a kid growing up, I always used to look forward to All-Star Weekend. The games, the skills competitions, everything. But it's really, lately, it's just become a big joke, and the players, they don't care about it either, it seems. And yeah, no, just not a fan at all.
I'm on board for sure. Bruce, I think you feel much the same.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch any of it this weekend. I had no interest in watching any of it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where I wanted to watch the skills competition. I wanted to watch the All-Star game, but I caught 5 or 10 minutes of the skills competition on Friday, and then and none of the All-Star game itself on Saturday. So I would agree with you, John. It's kind of just become the big joke. Like, nobody seems to care about it. The players go, but I mean, they're doing it for the sponsors. They're doing it out of obligation almost. I think they have some fun too. Like, I'm sure the players had some fun in Vegas this weekend, but
I wonder
more fun in Vegas than at the All-Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wonder if they could make it something like baseball, where the game means something. Like in baseball, the winner of the game, that division gets home field advantage in the World Series. Like, if there was a way they could make the game actually mean something, but it's kind of tough with the way the NHL is set up, but just have some meaning to it, right? So,
well, they tried, right? I mean, I don't know if they did it again this year, but in the past couple of years, they've at least offered up cash, right? Like,
for charities, right?
Yeah.
Is it for charity?
Was it $1 million that they split?
I think they kept that cash, Bruce. It didn't have to go to charity.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I could be wrong, but John, maybe you remember. I thought it was $1 million. It was split amongst the players, and
yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
It was kind of a bonus for them. And then I think there was a car giveaway or something that most of those guys did give away for charity, but who knows? I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, John, you're bang on this one, buddy. I think we all agree the All-Star game belongs on John's list.
Well, and two, right? There's no Olympics, right? So there's a bunch of these players are like, well, yay. It's like don't want to be here because we're not going to the Olympics. So yeah.
Yeah. Get back to the good old North America versus the world.
Yeah.
Well, and they mentioned that too. That was I think it was this weekend. They had said there was a date in 2024. They're going to do the World Cup of Hockey again, and they're going to try and do it apparently in the same period that the Olympics would fall under. So they're not doing it in August like they did the last time it was around. They're going to do it sort of like the Olympics and have it sort of be more of an Olympic-style tournament. I'd be in favor of that if we could at least just watch some best-on-best hockey.
Absolutely.
Of course, you want to support your country at the Olympics, and I'll tune in for a bit of it, right? But it's not anywhere close to the level of competition we're hoping to see, right?
Yeah. No, I get guys don't want to go to the All-Star game and get hurt. That'd be terrible. But yeah, I don't know. It's just not for me.
No.
I was kind of curious to see the day before the thing that Ovechkin got COVID.
That was pretty funny.
That's kind of convenient. Realized it probably isn't convenient, but I thought that was convenient.
Yeah, I think someone did a favor for Ovi.
Yeah, I'm thinking he sent a mass text or something saying, "Hey, you got COVID, come on over."
Yeah, exactly, right.
Or he slipped somebody a $100 bill and just said,
Yep,
fake vaccine.
Well, Jack Hughes caught it. First day back at practice,
I did see that.
He tested positive and was pulled from practice, so that's
wonderful.
Yeah, that's coming back but then too, he's got flights from Vegas to Jersey, right? So he could have caught it anywhere in there too.
Yeah, that's right.
Vegas.
Yes.
Well, and now starting this week, they're not going to be testing asymptomatic players anymore.
Exactly.
So Mike's list over at leftwinglock.com is going to be a lot shorter moving forward.
Definitely.
So that's great. Okay, well, John, thanks again for doing the list. It's always a good time. We enjoy it. Let's move on to Fantasy Lock of the Week, January 31st to February 6th, presented by Left Wing Lock. I don't know how you feel with this one, John, but I'm going with Mitch Marner, right wing, 99% rostered. He had 7 points, 3 goals, 9 shots on goal. He was +7, 68% power play share, just about 19.5 minutes time on ice in 2 games played. Since January 1st, Marner is second in the NHL in points per game at 1.78. He's posted 16 points, 8 goals, 3 power play goals, 5 power play points in 9 games. He's currently in a 7-game goal streak dating back to January 15th.
I'm quite okay with this one.
Okay.
With the start that Marner was having, everyone was just hating on him, and now he's just been money. So, yeah, no, I'm okay with that, and just peeking at the honorable mentions. No Crosby this time, so I can't even harp on you for leaving him out to dry.
No, I had to go with Austin Matthews as one of the honorable mentions. He had 6 points, 4 goals, 1 game winner, 1 power play point, 8 shots on goal, +6, 72% power play share in just 2 games played. And then, of course, we know from earlier on in the week was Mason Marchment, 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, 10 shots on goal, +5, 9 PIMs, 11% power play share in just 2 games played. So a couple of outstanding performances from those guys this week. And it's funny, if you go look at Mitch Marner's box scores, his stat sheet, it's just loaded with points for the last few games here. It's quite funny. Typically not much of a goal scorer, hey? Just not to this level anyway.
Yeah. It's nice to see him getting in stride there.
Yeah, nice to see him earn his contract.
Yes. I wasn't going to say it, but it almost needs to be said.
Well, I mean, to John's point, that's why people get on him, right? Because of that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that is quite colorful.
Yep. I'm proud to say I own him in at least 1 league.
I don't.
Yeah, not so lucky.
Not so lucky. Okay, well, there you go. That's Fantasy Lock of the Week. Let's move on to the next segment here, Headlines with the Hacks, news and injury updates for January 31st to February 6th. Like I mentioned earlier, our partner Left Wing Lock has a complete up-to-date list available on their website for all players placed on COVID protocol. The link is in the show notes, so feel free to check that out if you are interested. Starting off here, January 31st, Nazem Kadri, Frederick, Andersen, and Johnny Gaudreau are the NHL's 3 stars for the week ending January 30th. Any issues there, John? You're okay with those three guys there?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with those ones.
All right. Jordan Greenway signed a 3-year, $9 million contract extension with the Minnesota Wild on Monday. The Florida Panthers won a franchise-best 12 games in the month of January. They beat Columbus by a score of 8-4 on Monday night. Anton Lindell, has 32 points, 10 goals in 42 games played. He's now tied with Trevor Zegras for second in rookie scoring after posting 5 assists against Columbus. Like we just mentioned, Mason Marchment tied a franchise record with 6 points and 2 goals in that game.
In like 10 minutes of ice time.
Yeah, crazy, hey? But that third line, like Marchment, Lindell, and Sam Reinhart.
Yeah.
You don't get a much better third line, really.
No.
Except for the Oilers' third line.
Yeah, actually. Good point. Isn't it weird to say that the Oilers have that kind of depth right? now?
Like you got Hyman, RNH, and random winger, and it's like but that's just it, right? You got look at Florida, even Carolina. Oilers, when you have balance like that, your third line is gonna do stuff like this because they're gonna get the favorable matchups.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice to see. Well, just speaking of those two guys, Nuge had 2 goals, 1 shorthanded on Wednesday against the Capitals.
Yeah.
How big is he for the Oilers, John? Like you love Nuge. You're the president of that fan club.
Absolutely. That guy's just, I don't know. You could see how much he meant to the team when he was gone. The team was trash. And and what are they, 5-0-1 now in their last 6?
Something like that, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, he's huge for power play, penalty kill, everything. He's just all around great, in my books at least.
No, I'm with you. He touches all aspects of the game. Yeah, and him and Hyman just look great together. They complement each other so well, right? Like Hyman's just like a dog on a bone. Nuge is so smart, makes great plays. Like they missed him on the PK, right? Both guys, because we had Hyman out for a while too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean,
sure. The
unfortunate thing about this is we're all going to get a taste as Oilers fans of what depth looks like at the forward position, and then we're not going to have Kane back next year. So now we're kind of losing that depth. So we'll see. I don't know, but they got some other guys coming up. Like Dylan Holloway is going to be there, and they got some other forwards coming. So
yeah, unless Kane likes it so much that he's willing to take a discount to stay.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, with Koskinen coming off the books, and maybe if they can move some money around, maybe he wants to stick around. But if I'm a betting man, I'd guess he's gonna look to make some big money somewhere else.
He needs the financial assistance.
He really does. Yeah, he really does.
Just a little bit.
I will say though, I like what I've seen from him on ice so far. And
on ice he's as advertised, right? Yep. It's exactly what you've seen before from him.
And he looks to be like really just trying to fit in. He's trying to encourage teammates. Like he hasn't come in and just kind of isolated himself or come across in a negative way, right? So it's good to see. Like, I mean, I don't think any of us had high hopes for him. We talked a lot of trash about Evander Kane on this podcast in the past. So good to see he's not creating any negative waves at this point in time anyway.
Next year we'll be back at it.
Yeah.
Got to find someone else. Exactly. Koskinen will be gone, so you got to find somebody else.
Exactly. All right, back to the news here. Montreal Canadiens GM Kent Hughes has made Jeff Petry available for trade. It sounds like there may be a trade between Montreal and Dallas, because Dallas, as we know, is trying to move Klingberg. So there might be some sort of deal in the works there. And I'm trying to think who else was in on Petry. The only thing with him is
Montreal wouldn't keep Klingberg though.
No, they might try and flip him for a first rounder or something, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what's going on with Petry. He's making over I think it's $6.1 million for the next 3 years, maybe 4. And he's like in his early to mid 30s, so it's a lot of money for Jeff Petry.
Yeah. But solid defenseman, though.
Solid defenseman. Yeah, if you're the Oilers, you can get him on.
John just shakes his head.
Nope.
Nope. Just because he's a former Oiler, John, it doesn't mean you have to take that out on him.
He was absolutely trash when he was here.
He wasn't trash. He wasn't trash.
He was trash.
He was a young defenseman. The whole
team was trash.
He was a young defenseman. They got put in a bad position, and he did look bad, but
he was the best. He was the best of the trash.
Yeah.
But He's played much better once he got to Montreal.
Yeah.
Good trash is still trash.
Okay. Well,
Look at this guy. He was in his final 2 seasons with Edmonton. He was a negative 47.
That was probably the lowest number on the team.
yeah, really.
Or the highest number on the team, not the lowest.
I knew what you meant, Bruce. Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Oh no,
caught myself.
minus
there.
25 in what was it 14-15? He was the lowest.
So they had him on ice for everything. Then if he's the lowest number,
they just they trotted him out in every situation, and he just got picked apart.
Yeah,
him and Justin Schultz.
Oh well. All right, moving on. Jonathan Huberdeau, 25 points, 6 goals. UC Saros with an 8-2-2 record, and Brian Rust, 21 points and 10 goals. They were the NHL's 3 stars for the month of January. Huberdeau's having a phenomenal season. Like, he's got to be considered one of the front runners right now for the Hart Trophy. No,
I would think so.
Oh, sorry, I got to interject. I lied to you. Yak City was the worst player on that team.
we're back to this.
He was a negative 35. So
okay,
I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm off the Oilers. The Oilers.
No, that's okay. I mean, Oilers fan, not Oilers fans. I don't think a lot of people had too much love for Nail Yakupov. So
I was hoping he was going to do good.
Anton Lindell was the NHL's Rookie of the Month for January with 17 points, 14 assists, and 15 games played. Casey Mittelstadt did not play on Tuesday night against the Vegas Golden Knights, and he has an appointment with the surgeon that performed the procedure that kept him out of the lineup for 7 weeks.
Probably going back for a refund.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate news for Casey Mittelstadt and the Buffalo Sabres.
He's had no luck this season at all.
Well, he's had bad luck.
I guess if it wasn't for that, he'd have no luck at all, right?
There you go.
Yeeks. Like, yeah.
Ryan Pulock was activated from long-term injured reserve. Braden Holtby was listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury on Tuesday. Rick Bowness did say he expects him to be back after the All-Star break, though. Vitek Vanecek left Tuesday's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins with an upper body injury. There was no update at the time of writing here.
And finally, a team that has a worse goaltending situation than the Oilers.
Oof. Well, so the interesting thing about that, Bruce, is Vitek Vanecek leaves. Like, I think it was early, right?
Yeah.
Samsonov comes in. He made 45 saves?
He was lights out.
He was lights out. Looked brilliant.
Oh, really?
Yep. He had like a .950 save percentage, I think, in that game. They ended up beating Pittsburgh. They go back to him the next night against the Oilers, and
he got pulled.
He had a .250 save percentage on 4 shots. So I don't know what to make of that situation. I've got the tandem in one league, just because they want Samsonov to be the guy, but he's just not doing it.
He's not doing it, right?
And Vanecek now is injured, so
yeah. I dropped Samsonov from the team I had him on.
It's ugly, and the unfortunate thing is, like, Washington's an elite team, right? They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. All right. Artemi Panarin became just the 4th undrafted player to record 7+ consecutive 50-point seasons. I know you don't like him, John, because of the rookie season. That's okay. We'll move on.
Yep.
With a goal on Tuesday night against the Capitals, Evgeni Malkin extended his point streak to 9 games. That's the 2nd longest active point streak in the league currently. Kevin Fiala was at 11 games. He's actually now at 12 games. He's the longest active streak in the league right now. We talked about that over Twitter. That second half Fiala thing is real. It's quite funny.
Definitely. Most definitely.
So if he's available in your league, go out and grab him right now. I think he's around 80% owned though, so you've probably missed the boat on that one. Kyle Connor scored his 25th goal this season in 42 games played. Only one player in franchise history has reached that mark in fewer games. That was Ilya Kovalchuk. Nazem Kadri is going to test free agency after the season. Colorado has not been ruled out at this point, but it sounds like he wants to see what he can fetch on the open market.
Oh, why wouldn't he? He's having a career season.
Yep. Yeah, I don't blame him for a second, and I don't think realistically Colorado can afford to keep him, right?
Yeah, but the other side too, wherever he goes, he's set up to fail because he's not going to have the line mates that he has wherever he's going to go, and he's just not going to be able to reproduce those results somewhere else.
You're right. Like, I think, well, he might have better line mates somewhere else, honestly. Like, because he's been playing with Burakovsky and Nishushkin, right? Like, two good line mates.
Yeah.
But he may go somewhere else. But I agree.
Look at how long McKinnon's been out of the lineup for, so he takes McKinnon's spot on that line, right? So
no, he's been playing second line.
Has he?
Yeah.
I thought he played on the top line when McKinnon was out.
They had Rantanen playing with Landeskog, and then I think they moved up Nishushkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought he was playing on the first line.
No, they had him on the second line. I mean, he gets some better matchups there too, right? Is the other part of that.
For sure.
But I agree with you though. I don't think he's going to be able to reproduce the results he's shown this year. There's just, like, we've all looked at the numbers. We all know they're not sustainable, and everyone keeps asking questions like, when do I trade Kadri? When do I trade Kadri?
When someone backs up the Brinks truck for you.
Yeah.
Or when you can get something that you feel is better.
I guess, like,
right?
Bruce, if you're a Kadri owner, are you looking to trade him right now? Or are you just going to ride it out?
If somebody wants to heavily overpay for him, sure. But other than that, probably not.
Yeah. John,
I'm not going to give him away, but if I can get a player that I would want in return for him, absolutely.
Yeah.
It would have to be for the right package. But, yeah. Like you say, every week we expect something to happen, and
it doesn't,
just keeps
right?
on. He just keeps on keeping on, so.
He sure does. More trade talk here. It sounds like the Arizona Coyotes are willing to take on player salary in exchange for picks and prospects. So we may see some 3-team or 3-way trades happening this year at the deadline, which would be interesting.
Definitely.
With a 4-2 win over the Panthers, Gerard Gallant reached 300 NHL wins as a head coach. The Coyotes beat the Colorado Avalanche 3-2 in a shootout to end the Avs' home win streak at 18 games.
What a team to do that.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that,
awesome.
honestly. Marcus Foligno and Matt Dumba, both upper body injuries, did not play on Wednesday night. With a goal and an assist, Kevin Fiala extended his point streak to 12 games. It's expected that Mike Smith's going to be ready, guys, when the team returns from the All-Star break on Tuesday. How do you guys see that situation shaking out at Edmonton here? Are they going to keep riding Mikko? Is it going to be a 50-50 split? Are they going to Mike full-time? Like, what do you think?
They're going to go to Mike till he falls apart again, and then they'll go to Mikko on back-to-backs.
Okay. So, I mean, I've said I think they're just going to ride out that goaltending tandem, right?
They're going to ride him till Mikko falls up. Well, till basically Smith falls apart, and Mikko just can't stop a puck anymore.
So do you guys think they're going to try and upgrade the goaltending here before the deadline?
If they can get a long-term solution in the trade deadline, yes, I could see them doing that. But for the sake of this year, no, they won't.
Like, they're not going to target Fleury. They're not going to do anything. Like, they're not bringing any free agents like that.
No, I know Carey Price's name has been out there tied to the Oilers, but the Oilers can't absorb that. So
no. Well,
that's something that would have to run through like Arizona, but I don't even think Arizona would take on money or that kind of term. So
and that's a big risk for Edmonton. You're looking at a guy who's got, like, he's coming off injury. He hasn't played it all this year. He has a history of injuries, and he took some time for personal reasons too, right? So he's got a lot going on right now, and I don't like, for what he's being paid, it doesn't make a lot of sense for Edmonton. I did hear, John, for your knowledge, apparently Colorado's looking at Fleury.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that would make
like
sense.
That.
So kind of,
they got 2 goalies with injury history, so that would make a lot of sense.
Well, one thing I'm hearing is they're going to move out Kemper. They want to try and get back what they gave up for Kemper and bring in Fleury, and then run a Fleury-Francouz tandem.
That would work.
Yep.
Question is, will Fleury stay beyond? Because is this his last year, or has he got one more year? I should check that.
Yeah, he contract guy. You want to check that for us? I don't know, John. What do you think? Is Fleury going to play beyond this season?
Yes. I'm saying yes.
Yeah, and is he going to go to Colorado? Like, if you got traded there, would he stay?
I think he would.
Yeah. Chase another cup.
Yep.
This is Fleury's last year on a $7 million deal, so he's a free agent after this year.
I mean, the guy's made lots of money. He's won his cups. he could realistically retire, but if Colorado could sign him for cheap, I think he'd maybe consider doing it for a year or two.
And Fleury basically never gets hurt. Like his injury history was concussions earlier in his career, was it not?
I think so. John, you would know that.
I believe it was.
But he hasn't had an injury in a long time.
No, he's been pretty durable later in his career.
That makes sense because that's basically all Colorado basically needs is someone back there that can steal a game for him. And I'm not sure that both Kemper and Francouz are great goaltenders, but I don't know if they could absolutely steal a game if they need it, where Fleury can do that and has done that on several occasions.
Yeah, like he just won the Vezina last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would make them a scary team even scarier.
Absolutely. Keep
tabs on that situation. Bruce, you mentioned earlier Ovechkin missed the All-Star game. Tom Wilson replaced Ovi. I just, the whole thing was kind of comical. Like, it just, Ovi doesn't like to go to the All-Star game. It seems a little bit fishy to me, but we'll move on. Tyson Barrie returned for the Edmonton Oilers on Wednesday night. They did beat the Capitals, like we said earlier. Ryan Hopkins was good again. That was his fourth shorthanded goal of his career. 2 goals, 1 assist, 16-17 time on ice. Evander Kane had a solid outing. He had 1 goal, 1 assist, 3 shots on goal, 7 hits, and just about 17 minutes time on ice. Philipp Grubauer made 19 saves against the Islanders, turned Seattle's first franchise shutout.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's had a rough outing
there. He needs some positives because he's been, I don't know if he's been bad or the team's been bad, but they just haven't had a whole lot of success there. So it's good to see him get that.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Grubauer actually and the Kraken a little bit in the waiver wire section because he's actually been good in his last 4 or 5 games here. According to Pierre LeBrun, Pat Verbeek will be named the next GM of the Anaheim Ducks. We now know that is the case. Darren Draga reported that Peter Chiarelli is running for the Chicago Blackhawks vacant GM position. Talk about a brutal organization making some just awful decisions.
Well, you think if they sign Chiarelli, we should be able to trade him Zach Cassian for like a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round pick.
Yeah, like Blackhawks announced on their Twitter, was it, that they did say that today we interviewed Chiarelli for our GM position.
Yeah,
more updates to come. So
I did see that.
Yikes!
Look, not everything Chiarelli did in Edmonton was bad. There was
just most
of it.
Just most of it.
Yeah. So in the span of a week, Rocky Wirtz has managed to become a point of contention with a lot of people.
Public enemy number one.
They're gonna hire Peter Chiarelli as their GM. They're gonna trade Fleury. Kane's gonna request a trade. Like
Taves just gonna go home.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's an interesting situation. Unfortunate in Chicago right now.
Dumpster fire coming shortly.
It's really interesting how they've fallen so hard so fast. Like their last cup was in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's talent on the team. Like there's actually a fair bit of talent there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the Oilers, they can't keep the puck out of their net, even with Fleury back there.
He's been better lately. I think, John, you were telling me that, weren't you?
Yep.
Well, he's not used to getting hung out to dry as much as that, so he's just had to get used to get back into it again.
Sure. Jean Horkoff was named the Detroit Red Wings assistant general manager and general manager of the Grand Rapids Griffins. Good to see there. Former Oiler.
Trying to be relevant again.
And this is a big one.
Trash.
Jack Eichel should be cleared for contact after the All-Star game, according to head coach Peter DeBoer.
Let the cap gymnastics begin.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do there. They're going to have to waive a bunch of players and maybe swing a trade. I don't know.
It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. So, for me, I've got Eichel in at least 2 leagues. It'll be interesting to see how they fit him back in there and what he looks like when he starts playing again.
I don't think it'll take him very long to get back up to speed.
No, I would agree.
For him, it'll be like riding a bike. Once he gets back out there, it won't take him very long.
Well, and it sounds like he's feeling good physically, like just based on some of the quotes they've provided from him. Like he really downplayed his surgery and just said like all this fuss over nothing. Really was kind of how he phrased it. So,
like even though it's major surgery, like his neck vertebrae, but it's basically it doesn't really affect him. Well, I don't know the whole nature of the whole thing, but it doesn't affect muscles or tendons or anything like that. It's just they took a vertebrae out and they replaced it with a disc. That's all. I understand that's all they did. So
well, it's like day
it's
surgery.
just a matter of getting it to heal and
Yeah.
make sure it doesn't move, and away he goes.
So that's interesting. Keep an eye on that situation there. And then no one really cares, but the Metro Division won the All-Star Game 5-3 over the Central. Flyers captain Claude Giroux was named MVP with 3 goals. And that's another name to watch here coming up to the deadline, because it sounds like if he wants to move, he's going to get traded.
Yeah.
Be curious to see where he goes.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
And then for today,
yep.
Did you see Connor Bedard's goal?
I actually just posted it from our Twitter account.
Oh man,
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's
That was
dirty.
nice.
Not bad. The kid is he makes everybody else look silly.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. All right, guys, that wraps up headlines with the Hacks. Now is probably a good time to tell our listeners that the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast is a proud partner of NHLShop.ca, the best source for all your officially licensed NHL apparel and merchandise. Follow the links in our show notes or on our website. Save up to 50% on select apparel now and get free shipping on orders over $99. Use promo code NHLFS99 at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Full disclosure, Fantasy Hockey Hacks may receive a small commission for your purchase, which helps us to continue providing original content and fuel Tyler's gambling habit. And he's not here tonight, so he can't finish that sentence for me. But anyway, so guys, really, in all seriousness, if you're a fan of the show, if you appreciate what we do, please take a look. If you're going to buy some stuff from NHLShop.ca, follow through with the links in the show notes on our website. It does help us continue doing what we're doing, so we'd appreciate that. And with that, let's move on to Ask the Hacks.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Starting with, I was offered Bo Horvat and Josh Morrissey for Ivan Provorov. Should I take the deal? And I told him emphatically yes.
I guess Provorov can't get any worse this season.
Yeah, for sure. Bo Horvat, solid player, good on faceoffs, posts somewhere in between 50 and 60 points in a regular year.
Yeah.
Josh Morrissey, I think, he covers off some of what Provorov will do.
I almost think that. Sorry, I was just gonna say I almost think that Morrissey and Provorov are almost a wash together. So
yeah, and if you're taking Horvat back in that, I thought it was just kind of a no-brainer in my opinion, but
I guess it depends who you got to drop to make the roster space for Horvat, right?
That's just it.
Yeah. Now this listener did actually send me his roster to take a peek at, and he had some players. I think one of them was Martin Necas that he could have dropped.
Yeah, that would be a more than fair trade.
Yeah, so I thought that made a lot of sense, and he did accept the trade after, but that was the question. This one's interesting. Thoughts on David Perron? Do you think he will rebound? Just terrible right now. I do think he's going to rebound a little bit, but part of the problem in St. Louis right now for Perron, he's actually seeing less time on ice, and I think he's seeing less power play time as well. And
the kids have taken over in St. Louis.
Exactly. And Tarasenko. Nobody expected Tarasenko to perform the way he has this year.
Right?
Yeah. So those are all things kind of playing against Perron right now, and you guys tell me if you disagree, but I don't know that we're going to see 80-point Perron this season.
No, I kind of got the same dilemma. I've got Perron in one of the leagues too, and I'm just the same thing. It's like, what do you do with him, right? He doesn't have many points in his last few games.
He's got zero in his last 4.
It's like, who do you replace him with, though? That's the other thing.
Yeah. And, I mean, he's played as little as 40% power play share over his last 10 games here. He played 13 and a half minutes one game against Calgary.
Yeah, he played 12:47 against Washington.
Yep.
And that's another team that's got a fairly balanced three lines too, right? It's just that
Yeah.
the kids are getting all the points right now. So
I mean, his shooting percentage is down. He's at 10.8% on the season. 13.3% 3-year average. So there's some opportunity for aggression there. His 5-on-5 or his team's even strike shooting percentage is 6.8%. So there's some room for improvement there. There are some things. I mean, his IPP is at 63%. His IPP last year, Bruce, was almost at 91%.
oh wow,
Like those are McDavid type numbers. So.
Yeah. But he did well last season, though.
Yeah, you knew that was coming down. His power play IPP was 95%. Like he was in on almost every point they had on the power play.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I think a little bit of bounce back, but not to the level that we saw last season. The unfortunate thing is that his trade value right now is low, right, Bruce? Like, I mean, you just said you have the same dilemma. Like, who's going to pay for him?
Yeah, unless he's a huge Perron fan, no one's going to want him. You're going to have to bundle him with somebody else to try and move him.
Yeah. Kind of like your Binnington situation, but you won't trade him to me. All right. How do you see Evan Bouchard and Tyson Barrie playing out for the rest of the season?
I think Tyson Barrie is going to have a very short leash for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Then coming back at injury here, they'll put him back on power play 1, but if he isn't putting up points on there, he won't be on there for very long because they've got Bouchard and they've got Nurse that they can put on there. So he'll have a very short leash.
Yeah, like he played 100% of the power play on Wednesday, but he had 13, not even 14 minutes of ice time.
Yeah. Well, he's third line pair. He's going to be in the third pair.
Yep.
And power play time. And if he doesn't produce on the power play, it's going to be third pair minutes, and that's all he's going to get.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to lose that power play 1 role. I actually saw another question similar to this on Twitter today, and I did respond to it. It's out there on the timeline. But someone said, "Do I drop Barrie, Werenski, or Nurse?" And
I saw that one.
Yeah, and the obvious answer to me is you drop Barrie.
I think
because
for me, drop Barrie.
Werenski and Nurse are both top pairing defensemen for their team.
Yeah.
And Nurse puts up points 5-on-5 where Barrie doesn't.
That's right. And Barrie, once he loses that power play 1 role, he's just the third pairing guy, and he's not bringing a lot of other category coverage.
Exactly.
So yeah, for that question, I really think Bouchard's gonna there's no reason they don't just give him power play 1. Hey guys.
Oh, they're gonna make him work for it a bit more, but Barrie's play is gonna tell the tale of this. If Barrie can produce on the power play, he'll continue to get that time. If he doesn't, he won't be on it. It's just That's just how that'll work.
I would say I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bouchard on power play 1 shortly before the playoffs, and he'll end up being the guy moving into playoffs.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. He's shown in the games that he did get, he showed very well.
Yeah,
that he can handle that role.
Okay. What is the keeper value of Nick Suzuki? Is he worth selling at this point or holding for the future? Worried about Montreal's production in the coming years.
Oh, I think Suzuki's only going to get better. Like Montreal pretty much can't get any worse. They are going to get better.
Yeah.
But in terms of keeper value, like whether it's keeper or like a dynasty league or something like that, he's young still, very young still. Unless you can get something of value that you be willing to keep, I wouldn't trade him.
No, I wouldn't either, Bruce. I would agree with you. I think his, he'll continue to improve. I mean, the team's having a rough year, but Nick Suzuki himself, we saw how well he performed last year in the playoffs and even in the regular season before that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the whole team. Like you look at Caulfield this year, right? Like last year, he could score virtually anything, and this year he just can't. It just isn't working for him, and it's the same thing with the rest of the team, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be back next season.
Yep, agreed. John, I'm assuming you agree. You're nodding.
I agree with that too. Yep.
Okay. This one, I'll be honest, I didn't have a chance to really dig into it. But the question here is, could you provide a few buy low targets for players that have heavy playoff schedules? And like I've got one right now that comes to mind immediately because I was just chatting with another listener about this last night. Is Matthew Boldy, and because I don't know what his percentage rostered is right now, but it's still pretty low, and he's got 10 points in 10 games playing with Fiala, and Minnesota I believe has the most or the second most games remaining from between now and the end of the season. So they've got a heavy schedule. And then, of course, the Islanders are the other team. So you look at a guy like Oliver Wahlstrom, look at a guy like Anders Lee. He's available in quite a few leagues. Brock Nelson's another guy we've talked about lots in the past.
You might even get a team to sell on Barzell, too.
Yeah, Barzell.
He hasn't put up as many points as he has in the past either, so
no,
you might be able to get him fairly cheap, too. And some of the Canadian teams, too, that were all those rescheduled games. Ottawa players you might be able to get.
Yeah, I think Ottawa's got quite a few games remaining if I don't. I'm just going to pull up the schedule here.
Yeah. If you're not too scared, like a guy like Hoffman or Toffoli from Montreal.
Yep. Well, Hoffman, actually, we're going to talk about in the waiver picks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this here. So between now and April 30th, the Islanders have 43 games left. The Senators have 42. The Wild have 41. Carolina's another one with 40. Calgary at 40. Edmonton at 40. The Leafs at 40. The Jets at 40. Like, actually, that's a good one right there is Mark Scheifele.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are down on Scheifele right now.
Yeah.
Just going to pull up his
and
numbers.
the Jets as a whole, too, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Connor Hellebuyck, right? Is another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got him in one league, and I'm not giving up on him at all. Unless someone blows my doors away, I'm not giving up on him.
No, you just ride that one out. Because, I mean, the draft capital you invested, Bruce, for Connor Hellebuyck, I'm sure was high.
Yeah, it was pretty high,
Yeah, Mark Scheifele's got 29 points in 36 games, just 10 goals. But he's playing over 21 minutes and 3.5 minutes on the power play. So 64% power play share. I mean, he's a guy and his individual shooting percentage is just at 11.2%. His shot volume is basically where you'd see it year to year, 2.5 shots a game. So, yeah, he's down right now, but that's a guy I'd probably give some serious consideration to. Anybody else here, guys?
I think you picked a few good ones there.
Okay. And this one might be obvious, but I think Brady Kachuk is on a bit of a cold streak when it comes to goals. Last I looked.
Good. His line mates are
out. His last goal was on December 14th.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, mind you, he's got quite a few assists here in that time. He actually had one game with 12 shots on goal, one with 7, one with 9. Like, his shot volume's great.
That's incredible.
He just sucks.
It's just the shooting percentage. Yeah. So, I mean, he's still on pace for 66 points. I don't know. That might be a guy that you could make a nice offer for, just given that he's slacking in goal production right now. Okay. Good. Bruce, you don't have anything else in your mind?
No, I don't.
Okay. Last question here. Should I sell high on Chris Kreider or Timo Meier? They've been my workhorses all season, and I drafted them both so late. I'm in a bangers league, no blocks.
For me, it would depend on what's coming back, because these guys continue on this pace for the rest of the season. I don't know if you want to give up on them too easily. Yeah, for me, it'd have to be the right package for me to trade him off.
Like, Kreider could score 50 this year.
Oh yeah, easily.
Right?
And look at Meier too. Meier's, I think, in a contract year, isn't he?
Oh, contract guy. I think we've talked about this in a past episode.
I can look it up.
I don't think Meier is, right?
It was Hurdle that was in the contract.
Hurdle's in a contract year. I don't think Meier is, but we're seeing a little bit of a regression for Timo Meier right now. He's got 0 points in his last 3 games.
Yeah, so Meier's got 1 more year at $6 million, and Hurdle is done. Hurdle is a UFA at the end of the season.
Okay. One thing to note here too about those 2 players, the New York Rangers have the 3rd fewest games remaining at 35, and the Sharks have 36. So both players, if you're looking at in terms of the playoff schedule and games remaining, you're at a disadvantage there. So if there is a way, I mean, it might not be a terrible idea to try and sell high on Kreider. I like the player. I think he's like his lineup placement and stuff is all great. But if you could get a guy from Minnesota, because the other thing to remember here too, Minnesota right now, over the last 10 games, they're second in the NHL in goals for per game at 4.88. They've been a goal scoring machine.
No kidding.
So that might be somebody to look at. The Flames even are at 3.88. Carolina's at 3.88. Florida's at 4.64. So, I mean, if you want to try and swing a big deal for Kreider for one of those teams with more games remaining, that might make some sense. Okay, any other thoughts, guys? Nope. Hit my crickets button. We'll move on. And I can't make my usual joke about grabbing a drink or a refill because Tyler's not here, but we are going to move on to DraftKings. As a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast is a proud partner of DraftKings. The moment we've been waiting for since September is finally here. In honor of the big game, Bruce, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the Super Bowl 56, is giving new customers 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in New York, meaning you can bet almost a third of the country. If Sportsbook isn't in your state yet, play DraftKings Daily Fantasy Football Contest for Super Bowl 56. New customers can get a free shot at $1 million top prize with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use promo code THPN, and get 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code THPN at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56, 21 plus. Minimum age and location requirements vary by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full list of requirements and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Void where prohibited. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Tennessee, call or text the TN Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. In Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK, HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. Okay. Thank you for sticking that out, guys. I know that's a long ad read, and there's a big disclaimer there at the end. So, but you know what? DraftKings is a great partner of ours, along with the Hockey Podcast Network. So we appreciate everything they're doing over there. John, you're laughing, but yeah, I was sucking wind on that one. So
that was great. I love that one.
Good stuff.
I hope they add a few more states to that one.
Oh yeah, why not? Well, once they fill up the rest of the country, I'm sure they will. Bruce, I think you got to throw down some money. You got to get a little sprinkle, right? As Tyler would say. Yeah, put a little sprinkle on your Bengals.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, just to make the game a little more interesting, right?
That'll be interesting enough as it is.
Well, hey, if you sign up, 56-1 odds on either team. Bet just $5.
I signed up a while ago, so I don't think I qualify for that.
There you go. All right, let's move on to Edge Work, the segment where we do the work to give you the edge in your fantasy hockey leagues. Starting with the NHL schedule for Week 17, Part 2. And here's what you need to know. The schedule after the All-Star break features just 38 total games, and nearly half, 16, of those games are played on light or off days, meaning Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Sunday. The Dallas Stars play all 3 of their games on light days, while the Ottawa Senators and New Jersey Devils play 2 of their 3 games on light days. So consider players from those teams to really take advantage of the schedule. The Senators play 5 games this week, providing rare volume. However, they do have some tough matchups that you should be mindful of, particularly if you are rostering Matt Murray. Also note, this is important, The Florida Panthers, Los Angeles Kings, New York Rangers, and San Jose Sharks do not play this week, or for the week ending February 13th. So owners of Sergei Bobrovsky, Cal Peterson, or Jonathan Quick, Igor Shesterkin, and James Reimer or Aiden Hill should make other arrangements in goal for the coming week. Monday, 2 games. Tuesday, 7 games. Wednesday, 6 games. Thursday, 7. Friday, 4. Saturday, 8. And Sunday, 4. Some teams of interest here. So teams with 5 games, like we said, was the Ottawa Senators. Their strength of schedule, according to the Left Wing Lock scheduling tool, is a plus 23. And as I mentioned, they don't have the most favorable matchups this week. But with 5 games on the slate, they are worth rostering based on volume alone. The Senators are actually a respectable 3-3-1 collectively versus their opponents for next week, and most games in those season series were decided by 1 or 2 goals, with 3 of them going to OT or a shootout. Ottawa starts the week with 4 home games where they are 7-11-1, and they are 4-4-2 in their last 10 games played. Over that same stretch of games, Ottawa is a top 10 possession team with a USAT percentage of 52.5. Ottawa faces New Jersey, who they beat already this year, and Carolina, who they've split in 2 games. They got back-to-backs there, followed by Pittsburgh, who they've also split this season with, and then Boston, who they've lost their initial matchup. They play those guys on Saturday, and then finally a road match with Washington on Sunday, and they have not beat Washington this year. They've got 1 regulation loss and 1 overtime loss. Some players to consider for the Ottawa Senators: Tyler Ennis, Alex Formenton, Nick Paul, Chris Tierney, Artem Zub, and Matt Murray. Any additional thoughts there, guys, on the Ottawa Senators? Okay.
No, just that Tyler Ennis and Formenton, I thought, looked really good in the last little bit here. And yeah, no, definitely keep an eye on those 2.
Yeah, I would agree. Tyler Ennis has looked really good. It appears he needed an opportunity to actually do something.
Yeah.
And with Josh Norris and Drake Batherson out, he's got a chance here now to be relevant, fantasy relevant.
Making the most of it so far.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, teams of 4 games. The one we're kind of targeting here is the Carolina Hurricanes with a strength of schedule of plus 5. And of the teams that play 4 games next week, Carolina is probably the only one that we can recommend in good conscience. The other 2 teams,
not wrong.
Yeah, the other 2 teams are Montreal and New Jersey. So,
yeah,
we'll stick to Carolina. The unfortunate thing here is that they don't really have a ton of fantasy relevant players on the waiver wire. The Canes are in the midst of a 4-game win streak, posting a 7-2-1 record with average possession numbers at 50%. Their goal scoring has not been an issue, though. They're producing at a 3.4 goals for per game. That's 9th in the league, thanks to a 6th-ranked power play that is converting at almost 30%. They've got a 4-1-0 season series record against the teams that they play for next week. Of note, the Hurricanes have absolutely owned the Boston Bruins this season, outscoring them by a total of 10-1 over 2 games played.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's been kind of ugly for Boston. If you're streaming players from Carolina or looking for a spot start, keep Thursday's contest against Boston in mind in particular. Some players to consider: Seth Jarvis, who's just 4% owned. He's been getting top 6 deployment. Jesper Fast. Nino Niederreiter at 20%. Jacob Slavin at 56%. Brady Shea at 20%. And Antti Ranta at 8%. Next up, we got teams of 3 games. The Pittsburgh Penguins. Their strength of schedule, according to Left Wing Lock, is a minus 17. The Pittsburgh Penguins are 6-1-3 in their last 10 games played, good enough for 6th in the NHL in terms of points percentage over that span. The team is scoring a 9th best 3.50 goals for per game, while giving up just 2.7. Pittsburgh's power play is humming at 34.6%. That's 4th best in the league over the team's last 10 games. And they also have the 10th best possession numbers with a USAT percentage of 51.9%. They take on Boston, Ottawa, and New Jersey next week. Pittsburgh has split games with both Ottawa and New Jersey this year. Pittsburgh has not played Boston yet this season, but has struggled all time with a points percentage of just .413. I think that's the 2nd or 3rd worst record they have all time against any team is against Boston. So,
well, their jerseys are the same color, so they're probably passing to the wrong people.
Yeah, they just get confused. So if they get an opportunity, if you can pick up some streamers, for Boston against Pittsburgh, I might take a look at that this week. But for team or players from Pittsburgh for this week, I'd look at Kasperi Kapanen at 15%, Evan Rodrigue at 48%, Jeff Carter, John, at 41%, Ryan Dumoulin at 6%, and Mike Matheson at 16%. And then I just want to make a quick note to some other teams that play 3 games this week that I'd maybe take a look at. One is the Columbus Blue Jackets. They've got a strength of schedule of -27. They play Washington, Buffalo, and Montreal. And then the other team was the Washington Capitals. They've got a strength of schedule of -36. They play Columbus, Montreal, and Ottawa this week. And then let's move on to teams with 2 games. Focusing on the Buffalo Sabres, who have a strength of schedule of -38. They've been okay over the last 10 games, posting a 4-4-1 record. Although their special teams have not been great, the power play is at 18.4%, which is 22nd, and the PK is at 65.9%, which is 30th. Not good. But what makes them appealing for next week is the fact that Columbus and Montreal are struggling even more. The Blue Jackets are 4-6-0, and the Habs are 1-6-3 in their last 10 games. In the first game of their season series, Columbus beat Buffalo 7-4. The Habs are a different story, though, as Buffalo has throttled Montreal this year to the tune of a combined 9-2 over 2 games. Thompson, Skinner, and Olofsson have all performed well against Montreal this year, so definitely give them consideration for the upcoming week. So players to consider there: Alex Tuch, Jeff Skinner, Tage Thompson, Peyton Krebs, Dylan Cousins, and Craig Andersen. And then another team with 2 games on the schedule to consider would be the Detroit Red Wings. They've got a -28 strength of schedule. They played 2 games against Philly, and Philly is also awful. So give them a look. And then last but not least, we've got the Anaheim Ducks with just 1 game on the schedule for next week. But it's a good matchup here. They play Seattle. I'd be looking at a spot start 2 for that game. The Ducks have absolutely owned Seattle so far this season, winning 7-4 on November 11th and 4-1 on December 15th. The Ducks are 4-4-2 in their last 10, but carry a 13-7-2 record at home. Gibson and Grubauer have both struggled in the season series, but Anthony Stolarz managed to post a .950 save percentage in the Ducks win on December 15th. So if he does get that start against Seattle, I'd definitely be looking to roster him for a day.
For sure.
Players to consider: Ryan Getzlaf, Rickard Rakell, Max Comtois, Adam Henrique, Jamie Drysdale, and Anthony Stolarz. And there you have it, boys. That's I'm out of breath. I got to take a break here. That is the NHL schedule for the upcoming week here. Let's move on to the waiver wire section of our Edgeworks segment. So if you're a new listener to the show, we focus on waiver wire targets that have ownership of approximately 50% or less. We will venture off from that number if it's a specific player that's been producing at an exceptional rate. But some top waiver wire targets to consider. And first up here, we've got a guy that we just mentioned earlier is Tyler Ennis, left wing, right wing eligible, 6% rostered, 5 games on the schedule for the Ottawa Senators, and he's playing currently with Brady Kachuk and Tim Stützle. And he's getting time on Power Play 1. He's got 6 points, 4 goals in his last 6 games played. And I think 2 of their games looks like are on light days, so value in terms of production and maximizing games played. And then also look at Alex Formenton, who's 6% rostered. Next up, Jared McCann, rostered 28% rostered. He is left wing, right wing eligible. 2 games on the schedule for next week against against Arizona and Anaheim, and he's playing with Johansson and Eberle and Power Play 1. He's somehow managed to maintain the level of production that we saw in Pittsburgh last season. To date in Seattle, he's got 30 points, 19 goals, and 41 games played. Not bad from a guy.
Yeah.
Not too bad at all.
Yeah.
I didn't see that happening.
No, me neither.
No, I don't think anyone really did, and so it's good to see that he's been able to duplicate what he did there. He's got 7 points, 4 goals in his last 6 games. His individual shooting percentage is 18%, and his IPP is at 81%. So those are some areas of concern in terms of his production, but otherwise he's been playing well. And then I think this is interesting to note. Seattle in their last 10 games, they have the 6th best possession numbers in the league with a USAP percentage of 54.1%. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't translated to goals with a goals for per game of 2.20 and a 31st ranked power play at 8%. They have an 8% ranked 8% efficient power play.
Ouch.
Yep.
I don't think I've really ever seen a number like that.
That is terrible.
Who's worse?
Yeah, that's a good question, Bruce.
There's only that means there's one team that's worse than them.
That would be the Arizona Coyotes at 6.9%.
There you have it.
We should have known.
We should have known.
Yeah. Shouldn't even have to ask that one. All right, next up here, we got Blake Coleman, left wing, right wing eligible, 29% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week against Vegas, Toronto, and the Islanders. He's playing in the top 6 with Mangiapane and Backlund. He's been great over the last 10 games played. He's got 9 points, 5 goals. They've been good at even strength to date. They've got a 69.14 Corsi for percentage and a 70 goals for percentage. Coleman himself is on pace for just 36 points, but he is shooting at a career best 3.1 shots on goal per game. He's also going to likely finish the season with 180 hits or more and 65 PIMs or more. So some good production to get there out of Coleman. Got Boone Jenner here as well. Center, left wing eligible, 42% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week. He's been playing alongside Nyquist and Laine, as well as Power Play 1. He's got 30 points and 18 goals in 43 games played to date. He's on pace to finish with a career best 57 points. He's good for shots, hits, blocks. He's also seeing a career high 67% power play share and an average time on ice of over 20 minutes.
Good for him.
Yeah, so he's looked really good this year, 42% rostered, like I said. Should be available in quite a few leagues. The only real big concern with him is his individual shooting percentage at 15.4%, which is well above his 3-year and career averages. But I still like him. He does well in faceoffs as well, Bruce. I had him for a while in our Yahoo league. I think I had to drop him to make room for Malkin.
My Yahoo team needs help, period.
And no, John, I didn't think too hard about that one, dropping Jenner.
I was going to say, you probably didn't think too hard about that one. But yeah, no, Jenner looks like he's kind of hot and he's cold, it seems.
Yeah, he can be, for sure.
He had a few points there the other night against the Rangers and played great, but then after that, he had a couple slower games. But yeah, no, like, he's hot and cold, but he's been consistently hot and cold.
Consistently inconsistent.
Exactly.
I just like his category coverage.
Yeah.
And he's been more offensive this year than he has in the past, so that's always a nice added bonus.
Yeah, he's getting them shifts in. So
fuck. You beat me to it again. That's just gonna be to the end of the season. Yeah, had to. I'm not even gonna take shifts off. We're just gonna run with them now, just because it's a running joke. So
absolutely, I'd be disappointed if you did.
All right. Next one up here is Clayton Keller, and this guy's having a hell of a year. Left wing, right wing eligible, 45% rostered, 3 games on the schedule. He's right now. This doesn't sound great. He's playing with Galchenyuk and Schmaltz on their top line in Arizona. He is playing Power Play 1, and he's in the midst of a career year. He's on pace for 69 points over 82 games played. Which, yeah, I know John. You're laughing. Tyler's not here either. But
Nice.
some impressive stuff from Keller there. He's shooting a career best. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, he's got points in his last 6. So
Yeah, he's been good, and he's shooting more this year. He's at 2.8 shots on goal per game.
Yep.
Some good stuff to see there. He's playing almost 20 minutes a game.
He played 24-39 on the 28th against Boston.
Yeah, he's been good, surprisingly so. And there's a couple things like his team's even strength shooting percentage with him on the ice, his IPP, his secondary assist rate. They've all kind of been a bit of a red flag to watch, but I mean, I'm gonna ride that guy while I can. He's been quite productive this year. All right, let's move on then to Mike Hoffman. Left wing, right wing eligible. John can't handle himself.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. Shoot.
Anyway, we'll laugh about this later. Mike Hoffman, I was talking about him earlier today with Michael Amato from Goalie Post. I'm not sure if you guys saw that exchange, but I said, yeah, we're recommending Mike Hoffman for this week. And we just talked earlier about how bad Montreal has been and all the rest of it. But they do play 4 times this week, and 3 of those games are against struggling teams. New Jersey is 1-9-0 in their last 10 games. Columbus 4-6-0. Buffalo's 4-5-1. The Habs power play, this is interesting, over the last 10 games is 8th in the NHL at 24.1%. And nice. Over that same stretch, Mike Hoffman, who has a 60% power play share, he's got 4 power play points in that same time. He's got 6 points, 3 goals in his last 9 games. And looking at some of his numbers, it looks like we could see some real positive regression coming from Hoffman. His secondary assist rate right now is 0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Should be a little higher than that.
Should be just a touch higher than that. So something to keep an eye on there. His IPP at 63% is a bit low, and his team's even strength shooting percentage is just 5.3%. So lots of signals there to kind of suggest that we should see more out of Hoffman moving forward. I like their power play right now, and I like their schedule for the upcoming weeks, so I give him a look, just 15% rostered. And then this guy, we just said the Rangers don't play this week, but keep an eye on Alexei Lafreniere. I can never say this guy's name. Left wing, right wing eligible, 26% rostered. I just like that he's playing with Kreider and Zibanejad, and he's getting some time on power play 1. He's scored now in back-to-back games. He's 26% rostered, so it seems like people are kind of starting to pick up on Lafreniere. Not going to help you this week, but I would, the rest of the way, just keep a close eye on that guy. Another former Edmonton Oiler here, Adam Larsson. Moving on to defenseman. He's 17% rostered. He's on a rare hot streak, guys. He's got 5 points, 2 goals in his last 6 games played.
Very nice.
I don't know if he ever did that in Edmonton.
Nope.
Another thing here to point out, he's hitting at a rate of 2.4 hits per game and almost 2 blocks per game. So he's got some nice category coverage there, and then any offense you get from him is just a bonus. But he is playing on Seattle's top line along with Mark Giordano, who's 48% rostered. And I don't know if you guys like this or not, but Giordano, like he may get traded before the deadline, so that might be a guy you want to consider picking up, right?
Yep.
He might even go back to Calgary.
Did you say consider picking up Giordano?
Yeah, I did.
No.
We'll go back to the tape on that one.
Yeah, no. Don't even have to go back to the tape on that one.
Okay, just no. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Yeah, forget.
No.
Just completely ignore what I said.
Exactly.
This one, John, I think you'll have a hard time disagreeing with, is Noah Dobson.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with this one.
Yeah, 31% rostered, 3 games on the schedule for next week. He's playing on a pairing with Zdeno Chara and Power Play 1. Like we said earlier, the Islanders play the most games of any team between now and the end of the season, and Dobson is running their power play and playing on in the top 4, I think, is what he's doing right now. He's got 3 points, 1 goal in his last 5 games, but he offers up some value, too, in terms of shots on goal at 2.5 shots per game, over 1 hit per game, and over 2 blocks per game as well. So he's got some nice category coverage there. Alec Martinez. Bruce, you're a Martinez fan.
I am?
I don't know. He hasn't played since November 11th, but the word is he's coming back here from injury, so could be fairly soon. The biggest thing with him is blocked shots. He's got 33 blocked shots through 11 games played this year. So
he blocks a lot of shots.
Yeah, he's kind of like a more expensive version of Chris Russell.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot more expensive version of Chris Russell.
A lot more expensive. But, I mean, he
probably puts up more points, though.
Yeah, I'm going to...
Sorry, not probably. It'll take him 3 games and he'll have more points.
Almost definitely will put up more points. I'm just pulling up his numbers here. last year he was on pace for 50 points. So he had 32 points and 9 goals in 53 games for Vegas last year.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's 42%. He hasn't played at all. So I just, that's a guy, if he's available in your league, I think I'd give him a look. That Vegas team is so deep. And if he does get any of that scoring touch back that he had last season, he's going to be a really valuable ad off the wire. And then let's talk about some goaltenders here. So Philipp Grubauer for Seattle, 61% rostered, 2 games on the schedule. He's got a 74% net share, so he's just been playing all the games over Seattle. But since January 17th, he's sporting a record of 5-2-0 with a 2.14 goals against average and a .915 save percentage, including, like we said, Seattle's first shutout against the Islanders. He's got matchups against Arizona, who's 3-7-0 with a 2.18 goals for per game in their last 10, and Anaheim, who is basically playing some 500 hockey. I think he could be a good ad for next week. What do you guys think?
I think so.
Yep. I'll agree to that for sure.
Nice. Okay, good. The other guy here is Mike Smith, 39% rostered, 3 games played. There's 3 games on the schedule for next week, and then he's only played 14% of their games for Edmonton. But according to Edmonton Oilers head coach Dave Tippett, he is apparently healthy and set to return after the All-Star break. It's been a down year for him, we know. Just 6 games played with a 3.76 GAA and an .898 save percentage. Brutal. But I've got some other numbers in here if anybody wants to take a look at them. I mean, long story short, I think he's going to play better down the stretch. I think Tippett loves him, right? Like he's gonna ride Smith if he can. And in the final quarter of the season last year, Smith posted some impressive numbers. He was 7-2-0 with a 1.96 goals against average, a .937 save percentage, and a 7.04 goals saved above average. So he's going to have some time to rest up here and get better, and I think Mike Smith might be someone you want to take a look at if he's still available in your league.
Yeah, if he can get anywhere close to those numbers he did late last season, that would be really something.
And not fall and break his hip or a tendon in his thumb.
Yep.
Yeah. Guess he can't give it a thumbs up anymore.
And then the other goaltender I had here was Craig Andersen. And this one might be a bit of a reach, but he's 8% rostered. And he's been good this year. He in 8 games, he's got a record of 5-3-0, a 2.62 goals against average, a .917 save percentage, and a 1.52 goals saved above average. Those numbers are propped up a bit by his PK save percentage, which is at .909. We know that's going to regress a bit to .865 at some point, but he's got some good matchups like we talked about earlier against Columbus and Montreal. So could be a viable option for this week. But what do you guys think?
I think so.
Yeah, Bruce, you give me you're not sold?
Well, probably for the Montreal game. The Columbus game I may be a bit concerned, but sure.
I don't know. That Columbus team's been pretty bad lately.
They sure have.
Like, yeah, I feel bad for anybody who has Merzlikins.
John?
Yeah. Yep.
Elvis once out of the building?
Yeah, I cut ties with Merzlikins a while back. I'm actually surprised you've held on to him in that league.
Yeah.
Yep. That's all I'll say about that.
My other option was Samsonov, so.
Not great either way, yeah.
No.
But, for Craig Andersen, sure it's been a small sample size, but not a whole lot of bright spots on that team, but I think he's actually been one of them, so.
I would agree. Bruce, you're not sold. That's okay. Time will tell. We'll see how he does this week.
Yep.
All right, guys. We've just a couple other things here. Matt Murray, Peter Mrazek, Pavel Francouz, Jonas Korpisalo, and Karel Vejmelka are some other goaltenders to keep an eye on. Low ownership guys that may see some starts this week. So keep that in mind as well. And beyond that, that's all we have for this week, guys. So that was fun. Thanks for coming out. Tyler, we missed you. But for our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it. If you do have questions, be sure to send us those questions at fantasyhockeyhacks@gmail.com or reach out to us on social media. Use hashtag AskTheHacks. Follow us on Twitter at FHHacks, on Instagram at FantasyHockeyHacks. And check out the website, fantasyhockeyhacks.com. If you just want to, get a quick look at all the waiver wire picks from this week, you can go to the page. They're all there. So, and with that, we're going to wrap it up for another week, guys. Thanks for joining me. Talk to you next week.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, Felicia.
Take care.